Hello guys and welcome to our channel. This is Babarul. In today's video I want to talk about the balance patch and what it changed for our beloved untamed hybrid build, the PvE one. It is my main build that I use for everything PvE related. It is one of the best builds you can play, from survivability, damage and everything. You're probably familiar with it, and I'll be linking the older build videos that goes into details about everything. However, I'll try to make this video a bit whole. So there is two main changes that made us change our choices or how we think about this build in general came with this patch, which is the nerf to the Unleash Ambush skill for the axe. It's now give you 4 stacks of bleed, not 6, which is quite the nerf. And the buff to Let Loose trait, it doesn't give quickness only now with the reset to Unleash Ambush skill on weapon swap, but also give might. And those boons are to everyone around you, including your pet in solo gameplay. The older version, or the normal version we used to run, is Restorative Strike for the amount of survivability it offers. It is insane level. It gives you protection, and 4 seconds, 33% of all the power damage you can do will turn to healing. And also remember, protection heal you and your pet because of the trait Rugged Growth from Wellness Survival. However, there was few nerfs and tweaks that came across different patches that made the difference significant between those two traits. For a start now, the nerf to the axe skill, and also there was a nerf older to the dagger skill, so this little bit of shaving to damage that can happen from different skills will affect the healing, but not that much. However, it will affect the overall DPS when you're running in this form, comparing to the buff that now introduced to Let Loose, which also now give you might, not only quickness. So the difference to DPS now, if you run Restorative Strike and you do all your damage very correctly, you have a little bit more than 16k DPS in general. I'm talking about solo play, which means you only have what your build can offer you. You're running alone in the wilderness and fighting a champion, a hero point or whatever. In solo gameplay you will get 16 DPS, a little bit more. You might get next to 17 or something like that at most. Let's say 17k. Now for Let Loose, you will go about almost 21k DPS, again solo play only. So if you go with Let Loose, you lost a little bit of damage on the Unleash Ambush skill, but now you have a lot of might to boost you and your pet, which makes the overall build is buffed. However, if you run Restorative Strike, you didn't only sacrifice damage from Let Loose, you also got already nerfed because nothing else in the build itself got changed. That's why my choice now is Let Loose. Also, Restorative Strike used to give an insane amount of healing that you rarely even need, because we have multiple sources of healing, like our healing skill, any protection source that we can get from this skill, from our turtle, from our dodges, from champion's defense, it all turn to healing. And if you run Let Loose comparing to Restorative Strike, you get double the ambush. The normal thing, we have a 9-second, basically on a weapon swap, so it's a 9-second cooldown to the Unleash Ambush skill, but Let Loose give you this on weapon swap, which means you can use the skill of the dagger, for example, and then switch to axe and immediately use the other one with no cooldown, and then the cooldown reset completely again. The Unleash Ambush skill give you this effect, Natural Fortitude, which means it will life siphon healing and damage, so you get 2 times the healing you used to with Restorative Strike from the Unleash Ambush. This obviously does not compensate for Restorative Strike effect and the extra protection, but if you play well, if you keep your distance when you need, get in when you can, use a bit to tank for you, use the protection as much as you can to lower the damage. Also, Vow the Untamed mean 25% less power damage from enemy if your bit is unleashed, not you. We also use Force Fortification for 50% damage reduction we need. So there is multiple ways to compensate for the loss of healing simply by playing better and use whatever healing you have right now. And the difference in damage, like I said, is insane. So unless you really need Restorative Strike or you simply enjoy being able to face tank and ignore the damage because you can heal through many things at the same time, I would recommend sticking to Let Loose. And also it is great if you want to play this build as a form of quickness DPS. You'll be pushing quickness and might to other allies while simply focusing on your own DPS while being extremely tanky. So this is the change. This opens the door for different choices for other people, and I will be talking about them too. So keep in mind, this is a condition build more than actually a hybrid one. For example, we still have the same gear, Fall Celestial, but with Trapper Rune, we use Aristocracy, which means vulnerability will give you stacks of condition duration. And for it, we use the Sigil of Reality to put vulnerability on enemies we flank, and if the enemy have Defiance bar, you don't need to flank them, it will keep stacking, and also use Malice Sigil. So it is a condition build even if it is hybrid. And that's why you can't change skirmishing. You will get more bleeding, you will get 33% bleeding damage, and also even for power you will get Vicious Quarry to increase your ferocity and critical damage in general. So this trait cannot be changed, but many people will be tempted to change Wilderness Survival to focus more on boons now and keep building boons between them and their bit. So let's talk about Wilderness Survival and why I would suggest against changing it. First, you will get Natural Vigor, so you can dodge more, which amazing, 25% faster, and dodges will give you and your bit protection, and all protection from any sources, whether it is turtle bubble, whether it is dodges, whether it is this skill or protection from other players, it will heal you from rugged growth and your bit, which means a huge amount of sustain. You also get condition duration from expertise with extra vitality, and we get more condition damage, reducing the cooldown for torch and dagger skills, which are weapons we use. And also, most importantly, we get Wellness Knowledge for Fury and Cleanse condition from our survival skills, which is necessary if you want the build to be perfect. A build that can adapt to any situation have to have Stun Break, Condition Cleanse, Healing, range damage, melee damage, all possible needs. And this is the most damaging or having the highest DPS possible and the best adaptability in fight. Let me explain what I mean by that. The other choices people will go for is probably this one, Nature Magic, so any boon you will get will be shared with your bit, and you can copy it using We Heal as one. So this is how the build like that would look. You probably compensate for some survivability by taking Invigorating Bond. We run Warhorns, you can take this one, or go with Boon Swap, or get some Condition Cleanse back by Evasive Purity, and gain more damage for your power through the boons. However, this setup is much less damage, so you compensated some of the survivability you lost, and you lost DPS. So this is really bad, and also it depends a lot on sticking to the same bit, because the moment you swipe the bit and use your heal as one, you will get your boons to the bit, but not boons from it. So in solo gameplay, this is not a good choice. However, the other choice is Beast Mastery, and this one have almost the same damage. It's prone to human error, but almost the same DPS. I don't use arc DPS, so I calculated myself. However, it is very close to the same damage, even when you go like that and stack even more might. But the problem is, this count on the bit too much. Ferocity to the bit, and count also on having higher than 90% life to have this the same DPS with no conditions in Wilderness Survival, but only condition if you run in Beast Mastery. So if your health got lower, your DPS will fall a bit. If your bit died, your DPS is gonna change also. So too many factors for no need. And here also there is no condition cleanse whatsoever. So we don't have it. The only thing we have to cleanse with now is Unleash. And even if you change the quickness for something like Mutate Condition, because you don't need the quickness from this skill anymore, you will have permanent quickness easily. It doesn't really fill the same gap. It doesn't feel enough. The DPS have conditions to apply to maximum, and you lost a lot of your survivability. Besides, I have a problem with Heals 1 in general, whether you run Wilderness Survival or you don't. And that problem is simply, it is less healing. It is 7,159 in my setup now, while more than 9,000 you can get from Troll Unguent on faster casting and the Condition Cleanse. To use We Heal as one correctly with a rotation that depends on switching boons back and forth, need also to stick to the same bit. Again, need you to apply it in the correct time for the rotation, which means even if you didn't need this much healing, you have to use it before the boons end. And if your bit's gonna die, you have to use it before you switch it, so you copy the boons back from the bit that already had them. So the idea of timing your healing around your bit only, or around your boons only, not when you need it, lose a lot of freedom and a lot of quality in the gameplay. Besides, like I said, the healing is lower. In fact, if you tested here in this area using Let Loose in an extreme environmental damage, I can keep myself alive and kill the golem with Troll Unguent, while it's extremely difficult, if not even possible, with We Heal as one. So the difference is significant. Obviously, in real fighting scenario in open world, you will avoid the damage, you would dodge, you would gain distance, and then you would go in. So you can a bit adapt, but why lose this much survivability while the DPS is almost the same? So we heal as one and controlling the bits like that, it doesn't really give you an edge. The time you waste in casting it every time it come off cooldown, so you would copy boons and time it with your bit, the different choices you would make in skills would actually make you lose a little bit of damage comparing to not healing unless you need to. So it's not that great. And on another note, if you're running something like Beast Mastery or something like Nature Magic, you would gain longer boons over time, which mean comparing to the boons dropping if you don't. So even if you have the same DPS, the moment you're running this build in a meta event or among a lot of people, other people would be giving you the boons you lack. If your might drop, you will get it from anyone around you, which means the overall damage, if you're not alone in this build, will be higher when you don't keep up the boons themselves. So you only need to care about how high is your DPS in solo, and if you can get it higher without even investing in boons, that is always the correct choice. And that's why the build will not change anything. I will keep it the same like that. I will only be going for let loose, and that is the only change in the build. Now let's talk about pet choices. Turtle is your best friend. You can run it in almost any game mode, unless you really need a specific pet for different choices or something unique. Turtle is probably always the best choice. Double CC, strong damage, especially on this one, and protection field give projectile defense for both you and the bit, and with my build can heal the bit. The bit itself is very tanky like a bear, so it's overall great. It can be stationary, so you can stay behind it to avoid projectiles. There's so many things you can do with this bit. And for the other bit, I still use Jacaranda as my main one for higher damage, and it's do some really good cleave for power damage with this, also accessing some vulnerability, and have some decent CC with its root to a single target. From distance it can heal herself, so it is quite good. It have high toughness but not that much health. It have good damage, but you can go for other really good choices like the bear. It have less power damage in general, so not this damaging. It's very tanky. It can protect you as same as Turtle by taking damage from you. He have insane stun, and that cleave, it's an AoE with also access to the Bane, no damage from power skills for 5 seconds, so it's very good, and the damage will not be this much difference between both of them. It just lacks the cleave that it can offer. So it's up to you. Stick to Turtle, but any other bit you can experiment and use whatever you like. However, I'm sticking to Jacaranda most of the time, as the quality of life in cleaving with bar damage is great when you have her. I'll be showing some rotation now with pointers and other stuff that I talked about in the video. But in general, I would like most of the time to start with the axe. I always run on it because it's easier to engage and disengage and do damage directly, delivering something like Sharpened Stone with the Unleash Ambush and reaching any target even from behind you. It will go to the target without you targeting them, and then move from there to try to reset Forest Fortification as fast as possible if I use it. Ask anything if you want in the comment and I'll be answering them. That's it, and I'll be seeing you next time. Peace.